Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the fun stuff you love to talk about, that we love to talk about. I'm your host, Michael Dolce, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Hassan Godwin, Lord of the Radio.
Thank you. Because I was about to say,
I know.
you're in close to breach of contract, buddy. 3 weeks in a row, almost.
I don't know.
I don't even have a name. I am just the Lord of the Radio. Just announce me as that.
Just announce you as that?
Yes. Don't use my name. Are you nuts? I've got enemies.
All right. As for the last month, we've been sponsored by SP&G Speed Printing and Graphics Incorporated, www.sp-g.com. They do amazing printing work. They've printed a bunch of my books, my Kickstarter books. So go check them out, sp-g.com. And the final issue of the Mainstream, it's supposed to be in stores today, but it wasn't actually in my comic shop today. So maybe next week.
It was sold out.
Well,
that's how you spin it. Spin it.
I can't spin it. It wasn't there.
It wasn't because it was sold out.
It wasn't for sale.
It was already sold out.
Yeah. All right, we got a great show tonight. We are going to be talking a whole bunch of stuff. Amazing Disgrace,
Can we
Spider-Man.
talk about how hot it is in here?
I almost wore no pants tonight.
It's like
I almost went
degrees.
no pants.
No, yeah, I'm glad you didn't though.
I know. I actually literally.
That's a test of our friendship, and I honestly don't appreciate.
Why, you don't like the locker room talk?
Look, man, there's only but so far you're willing to go for a podcast.
What's that great scene in Entourage when the guy says he walks up to the guy like E totally naked and he's like, "Whoa, put some pants on." He goes, "All right, not a locker room guy." Gotcha. No problem.
Yeah, I'm not, though. And I don't think the people at Serafina are locker room people either.
Very true. I would have wore...
That might get you a little rebuke, maybe.
I would have wore pants for them.
Oh, you would have switched it up. All right, so keep moving.
We've got a great show tonight. We're going to talk about the Spider-Man controversy that erupted. It's not just a Spider-Man controversy. It's a Marvel controversy. It's another Nick Spencer book. There's a controversy. Another artist kind of going above and beyond. Guardians 3, the news around that after the James Gunn firing. And we're going to give you our top movies, cartoons, and TV shows that we want to see rebooted and a few that we want to see debooted, like the proposed Buffy series, potentially, a new Ghostbusters movie. I don't want to see any of that stuff. We're also going to welcome Charon.
Well, we don't have to do that segment then.
I know.
Just gave that away.
Charon. I'm going to figure that out. Fred Packard and Joshua Valliere
do all that
are here.
work before we go on the air.
They're going to close out our summer spotlight. No, I'm going to ask them. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, but I mean,
All right, but we start Amazing Disgrace, an anti-Mormon slogan found in the latest issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Yes, my producer Sam Leibowitz gave me a very befuddled look. It's another controversy. This is coming from Hollywood Reporter. The Marvel superhero sports a patch for CES Letter, a book described as exploring the troubled origins, history, and practices of the church, in a move that echoes last year's discovery of political propaganda in the pages of an X-Men comic, which we can show you on screen right now, actually, if you'd like.
Tell me about it, because I'm not seeing the screen. So
I'm going to show it to you right now, too. That's the X-Men comic, and here's the Spidey comic.
Yeah, but what's the X-Men thing? Because I'm not looking at the screen.
Well, I got the Spider-Man comic on anyway. So, it's a recent issue of Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man. Features the hero wearing the logo of an anti-Mormon movement on his costume.
Is it anti-Mormon? Because the book is just a criticism on Mormonism. Before we even get into it, I just want to... How should we parse that?
It's a book described as one Latter-day Saint's honest quest to get official answers from the LDS Church on its troubling origins, history, and practices.
Okay, that might not be anti-Mormon, especially if he's from the Church of Latter-day Saints. So, it's not like an ex-member.
When you say things like its troubling origins versus its glorious origins,
look,
it tends
not to be controversial, but if you look at history.
Again, yeah. Ryan Otley, the artist of the issue, is believed to have confirmed the reference on Reddit in a now deleted post.
America has troubling origins,
describing it as a little Easter egg, which actually yeah.
All I was trying to do was to
say you're anti-Mormon. I gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
All I was trying to do is have us categorize it correctly.
I agree.
As either properly anti-Mormon or critical Mormonism.
Look, I agree with you too.
Okay,
actually.
but you're being a douche.
Well, that's
because
the whole,
your name is
that's the
Dolce,
whole,
right? So anyway, so let's just move on from that.
The two don't mean.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you anymore. So the bottom line, the bottom line is that it shouldn't be in the comic book. Stuff like that, controversial stuff like that, little barbs and Easter eggs and stuff like that of that nature.
Yeah,
Easter eggs like say the
Van Sciver sex thing, which was kind of funny, where he drew sex in every single panel of every single book.
That's what
in one issue.
Joe Quesada did that years and years ago. In the second,
those are like whatever. That's
second
kind of
issue of the second issue of Ninjak for Valiant Comics.
Yeah,
I was there for that, and they had a heart attack about it. They had a fit.
Sure,
it was like a big deal. So yeah, this shouldn't.
But
happen.
that was pre-internet.
Didn't matter. It was big enough.
But that's
big enough at the time.
That's how I actually self-segued myself into my own point on this.
Okay, I guess my point's done.
If you're gonna do something like this, your point, we'll get back to it.
Oh really?
If you're gonna do something
I was in the
like
middle of it, but
okay.
I'll circle back to my own point. That's okay.
I'm listening.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Go ahead.
No, you're not.
Go
I don't want to talk now.
Okay. If you're going to do something like this in the internet age, where something like that probably slipped through everyone's... So, all right, I'm going to bring up the X-Men photo, and it's up on our screen right now. So if you are streaming
now it's
us
on
live...
the screen. I don't have the screen.
I'm going to describe it. Hey, let me do my thing.
I'm just trying to
Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. You can actually see it up on screen right now. If you're watching the video replay, if you're listening to some podcast, there was a scene in X-Men Gold last year where it was a 2-1-2 was shown in, I think it was a number of panels, but definitely one blatant panel. And what that is in reference to is actually an anti-Jewish and anti-Christian Muslim group or movement of some kind. So it was so subtle. I mean, it was from an Indonesian artist. The artist was from Indonesia anyway. I mean, it was like so subtle, but in this era of one person figures it out and it spreads like wildfire, it cost this artist his job and potentially his career. I would imagine.
212 is an area code in New York, though. That's what's tricky about that.
Maybe it's a 212. Maybe it's something. I put it up there because I think that is exactly what the thing was.
The letter, the what is it? ESA. What is it? Was the
the CES letter. And I'll put that up there. Yes,
that's blatant. This is
blatant,
more.
This
is way more ambiguous.
I'm going to throw it out. Sam, you shook your head. You kind of knew what CES letter was. Sam's our producer. Did you know what that was? I had no idea what that was. Did you know what that was?
Not at all. But I'm saying it's
definitely blatant.
It's not like it means something other than what it means.
Yes.
212 could technically, if that's what you're aiming at.
I think that's what it was.
212 could technically mean a number of other things.
Consumer letter. Yeah, I know. There's so many
Yeah, but
yes.
Yeah, but not all of them are anti-religion.
You're right. Right.
Or anti-particular religion.
Right. He appears sporting a number of logos as the result
saying,
of
like
new
the
corporate
Apple
sponsorships. 8 of the logos, some bear resemblance to existing companies.
Like Apple.
Right.
Like someone said, and obscuring the Apple symbol to wear as a sponsor. Right. That's fine. That's comic books. That's funny.
Right.
But you're gonna. I don't mind politics. I think sometimes certain things have to be addressed. I think some of the things that we consider to be politics is actually just standard narrative for a lot of stories that we have, like standard morality tales and stuff. Most of the stories we have are morality tales, and people now are considering morality tales as like virtue signaling, like as if, which is BS. But this is egregious, If this is a direct, if there is no other meaning for that symbol other than that book, and to specify that book, then that's ridiculous. Whether it's pro or against, anything, that's where the abuse of power comes from. Abuse of the medium is coming, and they're absolutely right about that.
The question is whether or not it's going to cost him his job. And I don't know if
the 212, if that is exactly what it is, if that is what it is, because you didn't do your research again.
I'll do a little research here.
No, because you didn't really, you're doing a bad job as usual.
That's terrible.
But if the 212 cost that guy his job, and he was a good artist, looking at that panel, right? And I mean, the fact that X-Men usually takes place in the real world and usually takes place in New York, right? Or around that. So 212 could have been the area code
Sure.
of anything.
There's a hidden Quranic message. So there's a specific verse. I think that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what.
Okay, so then that's see again. That's egregious. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
If you want to bring awareness to something, you got to do a story about it.
Yeah. It's
so that
212. Look at me. I did do my research.
Yeah.
Another sign shows the number 212 reference.
You have to do
December.
research as to find out whether you did research or not. That explains it all.
I got a kid at home. December 2nd, 2016, the date of a huge protest in Jakarta. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, but again, 212 is an area code. If he just said it's the area code.
Yeah, he could have totally
But he
gotten.
didn't.
No,
But he didn't.
that's
I
where these
know,
idiots
I
always
know,
get into
I know.
trouble.
And that's the thing, Ryan.
You know what I'm
going
gonna
to
do?
Same thing.
I'm gonna tweet. I'm gonna tweet something.
Ryan Otley did the same thing.
I'm gonna
man.
let everybody know on a tweet.
It's
And
now
then-
a now deleted Reddit post, but
Oh,
someone took a screenshot because it takes 2 seconds to take a screenshot.
Yeah, it's not a.
I
it's
just took a
public
screenshot of my
statement.
screen right now, broadcasting this whole show. There we
Which
go.
which will cost me when I'm running for office.
We are not condoning the 212 or the CS letter that is shown on your screen.
We don't even know what they mean. So we totally couldn't be condoning it. We're not condoning any messages such as that. Any pro or against messages.
Correct.
Like you said, even if you did a story about the Klan, you'd have to do a story, right? You couldn't just have a picture of like Richard Spencer with a slash through it. You can't just drop an egg and just say declare for a side. You got to do. If you're going to do a story about it, if you're going to do an anti-Klan story or you got to do a full story so that all the, theoretically, all the points can be laid out and all the metrics can be examined,
Right.
So that even if it does come out one-sided as though you are just coming out for your side, you did attempt to have a leveled argument about it.
Here's the thing too. I mean, something to that level is such a minuscule thing. It might be a book that the guy feels a personal attachment to, Ryan Otley. It might be something that
and he doesn't realize the controversy.
Right, he might not realize what he did was actually the equivalent of like tweeting your political views if you work for ESPN or whatever the case is,
Right.
and then you put your corporate headquarters, who is paying your paycheck, in an uncomfortable position. That being said, I find it funny that it's a Nick Spencer book that this kind of happened under. Now, that was my theory on things.
Explain why.
Nick Spencer was the writer of the Nazi Captain America. He's also the guy who regularly tweets political things, tweets very left-wing political things, is very blatant about it, and also in his Captain America run gave a lot of his villains direct like Trump quotes or Trumpian quotes, and was called out for doing that. So I do think in this case, my theory, which we had talked about earlier, is that he didn't say in the dialogue, in the script, put this on his sleeve. He probably wrote in his panel, put a bunch of logos on it, and Ryan Otley, he might actually have
the
some
artist
sort of,
himself just took.
He might have took it upon himself to kind of do that.
But he might have done that because he knew whose book he was working on, and so he knew that might get a lot more play.
Or look, the writer generally sees the artwork as it comes in. Kind of have a feeling he knew what he was getting into.
Maybe.
All right, when we come back to Reboot or Deboot, we're living in the past, and we love every second of it. So we're going to give you our top choices to reboot from cartoons, TV shows, and movies when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Did you know you've been playing poker your whole life, even if you've never played a hand of cards? Hi, I'm Ellen Lakend, author of Poker Woman and host of the new show, Poker Divas. On the show, I talk about how poker strategy helps you win in business, life, and love. Tune in live every Thursday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network. Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo!
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
I'm looking at you, and I couldn't tell you if you're 24 or 38. How old are you?
38.
How old is she, Sam?
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah, I keep in good shape. How old do you think Hassan is?
71. I'm at the age where the only time I want it twice is before I had it once. Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire, brought to you by SP&G Printing, sp-g.com. Professional printing made simple. Brochures, business cards, booklets, catalogs, flyers, posters, postcards, other print services are our specialty. It's simple. Go to sp-g.com. Secrets of the Sire Facebook page is lit up with a lot of folks, which is great.
When Sam says going hot, he's not kidding.
And you can always go there.
It's boiling in here.
Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire to catch our live broadcast, and you can comment. We will read off some comments in a second. Twitter is Michael_Dolce. Instagram, mdolce64. Everything else is /Secrets of the Sire.
Killing us with all this verbiage.
Finally, brought to you by all our beloved patrons. We are dedicated fans. Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai, Program Director Stephanie Dolce, Executive Producer Steve Ovecki,
do this every week.
Brian Phillips, and Christina Gillen, and our Uber fan, Christina Dolce. All right.
Uber fans are fixed, by the way.
Along.
It's no coincidence that her last name is your last name.
There's no
All I'm
coincidence
saying. And someone should look into that. We should have a special investigation.
We are having we were having our annual, not our annual, it's our weekly talk on what.
Yeah, it's not annual.
See what you do?
Yes, it caused trouble. Don't worry, I'm
our
fine.
Our weekly discussion on what we should talk about, right? And our weekly discussion.
Your show with Darren Sanchez went way too smooth.
It did.
Yeah.
You know, I could bring him back.
My days are numbered. I understand that. I'm aware.
One of the things we talked about was the incessant amount of reboots that are going on, right?
Yes, reboots.
Reboots. They're everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you
had
can't
to
turn
reboot
around.
your sentence like 3 or 4 times. Just
I did, and I did, and it was much better than I did. So we thought we would compile a list of comics, movies, TV, pop culture we want to see rebooted. And then I wanted to go through a couple reboots that already happened and decide whether or not we should deboot them.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off my my wonderful reboot list with the X-Men animated series from the 90s. I want to see the X-Men animated series from the 90s rebooted.
Why?
Because it was the best X-Men. X-Men is barely recognizable now.
Don't you have the animated series from the 90s?
Yeah, but
why would you need a new animated series to reboot
You've just
the old
asked the
animated
question
series?
of every reboot that's ever happened.
I understand.
Why are they rebooting Buffy?
You'd have to explain exactly why you wanted to reboot it, because you wanted specifically the 90s era. You don't want a new X-Men cartoon. So
I
if
would
it
say
was
this.
90s era, they wouldn't be updating it to contemporary
90s
time.
90s characters. I want to see the 90s characters. I want to see the Gambit with the trench coat. I want to see the Jean Grey with the pockets on the shoulders. I want to see Cyclops.
You missed those pockets?
I do. You know, look, there was something to be said about Rob Liefeld and the shoulder pads.
And those pockets.
And the pouches.
Him in pockets.
There were pouches,
yeah, there's pouches
everywhere.
Yeah, that
Rob K,
had nothing in them.
formerly of the Rob and Kelly Show on Talk Radio NYC, is in studio with us right now, and he doesn't get it. Sam lived the 90s comic book era. He knows.
He gets it. He knows
the shoulder pad. Like every character had pouches.
And no one had feet.
No one had feet. Everyone had pouches, and it was the best time to read comics.
And every room you were in had like a mist of dry ice smoke at the bottom to obscure the feet
All my
that
comics
Rob
had that.
Liefeld could not draw.
All my comics had that. When I drew comics, I was like
they're in
you
a-
could do that?
they're
You
in
could
a
just
m-
put mist?
Yeah, they're in a
And I don't have to
movie
draw
theater,
feet?
and there's like mist that does like, why is there? Or in a conference room, like discussing strategy, and there's
Yeah.
mist on the floor.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I want to see
I
X-Men.
miss those times. I
animated.
do.
What's a series you want to see rebooted?
Oh, none. Series rebooted. I said before, I would like to see a movie rebooted. I would like to see them do an upgrade of Dune. Or I would like to see the movie Dune, or the book Dune, or the books Dune, redone as a television show.
How come every
Like Game of Thrones.
Okay, so TV show totally different because TV medium
But that is a reboot.
is no. Sorry, let me. I didn't mean to say totally different than what you
Oh.
said. I'm saying that like the
Yeah, you gotta clarify that.
chances
'Cause I was
of
about
when
to-
you said movie,
I was going to punch you.
I was going to sit there and say the chances of that being good are still so slim.
It's true.
But TV show, if it's
But they could
rebooted,
do, I
as,
mean, ever since Lord of the Rings,
if
you
it's
know,
rebooted
people.
as a TV show, though,
Yeah.
you know,
And those books, the problem is,
now we're kind of talking there.
the issue with Dune, and we're even talking the original 6 books.
Yeah.
They get the quality of them becomes questionable after the 3rd one. So even
But you got that hindsight. You got that hindsight. I mean, if you're a TV show, see, TV show.
I just don't know
opens
how
up so many
audiences,
doors
no matter
now.
how sophisticated they are, would deal with an adaptation of Heretics of Dune. But okay, yeah, never mind that. I'm just saying the first 3 books, adapting the first 3 books into a
don't see why
television
not.
show.
At that point,
you've
could,
never read that book. I remember reading and going, I got to finish this just because.
Yeah,
because
but
it's book 6.
again,
you know, book
if
5.
you are the creators of the show, I mean, even Game of Thrones is like that, right?
Well, Game of Thrones
Game
ran
of
out of
Thrones
books, so obviously it can be done.
Right, exactly.
It
They
can be
they
done.
can tweak it however they need to do it to make it good. All right,
Agreed.
what's something we want to deboot? Do you want to deboot? Let me ask you a question.
Star Wars.
I'll give you a show that
Everybody laughs because everybody knows.
I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with doing a new Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as long as it's not a reboot and it's just a continuation of the story. Because I feel as if
Neither one works.
It can be completely different characters,
Yeah.
but set in the universe. I think the one thing with Ghostbusters, which just flashed on the screen, and we've talked about it, and we talked about it when it came out. The reason Ghostbusters was such a flop was they were retelling the same story but putting 4 women in there rather than 4 men, making it a point to be like, look, it's female Ghostbusters. It's all those things you ever wanted. And then the movie sucked, too.
We argue about that.
No, and then the movie sucked,
yeah.
too. You had
I
4
honestly think-
really funny people, and it wasn't funny.
I honestly think the marketing wouldn't have mattered if the movie was actually good.
Yeah.
So you're
Oh,
right.
but that's my point, right?
But there was that movie was such a number of for lack of a better description, just abortion like ideas, like just because it was a number of like it was you got this kind of hipster director who thinks that he's
the comments of Hassan Godwin
Yeah.
over the radio do not reflect those of its parent company, TalkRadio.NYC.
although everything I say you say, so that's we've already signed that contract, so everything that comes out of my mouth happens to you. So.
I have no parent
Therefore,
company, so I'm okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's the optics were all wrong on it. It's like this kind of hipster, douchey, director looking guy, and he's coming out and he's talking about prior to the movie dropping and either doing well or not doing well. He's talking about all the things that people probably wanted to see that he like automatically threw out. He goes, "Well, I wasn't interested in seeing a reboot of this. I wasn't interested. I thought it was like these. You get these hip, funny comedians together, and you just let them riff, and we don't really even need a script." And and he's saying all these things that are just condemning his film,
right?
And just a number of other things. You notice that Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, these people never go on record about Ghostbusters. Like they've never said anything prior to or since.
Kristen Wiig is kind of a recluse, even though she's going to be the villain in the new Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah,
so I'm very excited about that.
And I think she's great. And I think her movies are fantastic. I think Bridesmaids is a funny movie. It's a genuinely funny movie.
Yeah.
She's in a she's in a deleted scene in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That is absolutely brilliant, and it's a shame that she got cut out of it. But anyway, it doesn't.
Let me throw a show out at you.
Here nor there.
That's in the sci-fi realm.
Buffy in that realm. I understand what you're saying. I didn't even like the original.
Yeah,
so
I know. I love the original, so I definitely
I don't care
feel
one way or the
an
other.
attachment to it. But I mean, I think if you
and supposedly the new Slayer is black, and they're making a big deal about her being
which
black.
is awesome if they keep it in the continuity. There's no reason why there can't be, especially the way it ended.
No, of course.
The series ended that any
there's
girl
obviously
could
be a reason that
Slayer.
Because Joss Whedon is behind it, right? He's going to produce it.
He's attached, but he's not the driving force behind it. This is not a
So
series
of course it's going to be rebooted then, and it's going to be a disaster because that is a very beloved series. And if you come and you start to trample all over it, they will react.
Let me throw a series out there,
So
and I got it flashing in my little slideshow, where I'm not sure. On paper, I want to see this thing back because I was such a big fan, but I loved the ending, and I felt like it had a legitimate ending, and I felt like it ran its course, so I don't know if we need to do this. Quantum Leap. Yes. Oh, yes. we got the chorus. We got the chorus in the background. All right. Reasons to bring Quantum Leap back. A, it was awesome. Dean Stockwell and Scott Bakula were tremendous. You could bring an old Scott Bakula back because, technically speaking, the way the show ended. Sorry, spoilers, it ended in 1993, so hopefully at this point you're not like, damn, I really wanted to catch that.
No, don't tell me.
How dare they?
Don't tell me.
He basically was set out in time forever. He made a sacrifice to reunite Dean Stockwell, Al, his best friend, with his wife. He went back in time and dropped a little hint that they could still be together, and by doing so, gave up his only shot to go home. It's a great ending, perfect ending. As much as I would like to see this, there's rumors that it would be his daughter, because he does, have a daughter in the continuity there. Could maybe go back and try to find him, which I think would also be an awesome story. It's just so ripe with this could be so wrong. Like, at what point do we just let go of these series? At what point?
When they end like that. When they end like Quantum Leap, that gives you an ending that's a poetic ending, that's a meaningful ending, then maybe you should end it. And you should leave it there.
All right, we want to hear from you guys. Chime in on the Facebook feed, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Even if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go back to that page and you can drop some comments. We comment all week long as we promote the heck out of these videos. When we come back, we're going to finish our summer spotlight on some comic book companies you need to know with Charon Comics.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul. Join me to uncover the root to these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to living a healthy life. Join us every Wednesday at my new time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Can a man actually get up with any kind of macho manliness and say Twilight was a good film franchise and or movie? That's like the guy wearing the pink shirt, right? Like
Yeah,
he feels completely confident.
But men can rock pink.
Wait! For
Sam
our
the
audience,
engineer is
Sam-
wearing pink right
I just pulled a Hassan.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
in the middle of a sauna.
Talkradio.nyc and streaming live on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Before we go to our guest real quick, Sam, the producer, had a couple suggestions for reboots. What was it? Akira live action, though, starring Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Yes. As Kaneda. Scarlett Johansson as Kaneda. That would be perfect. Perfect.
What was it?
That's
Logan's
central
Run
casting.
and Gigantor. I'm gonna give a no prize to anyone who can chime in and say they know legitimately what Gigantor is.
Robot is at
Really?
your command.
All right.
Gigantor. Yeah, you lose.
All right, all summer long, which has felt pretty long. It's
Yes,
like
and
90
hot,
degrees.
and
Like I said,
hot.
I almost did not wear pants tonight.
They were working on the outside of my building today, and someone plugged into the wall unit on the outside of the building and burned out my my living room. It blew a fuse. But me being a complete novice, electrician, like know nothing. I'm like, what? And the air conditioner just went.
That's
and it got instantly sauna-ific in that apartment.
so you've been irritated this entire
I've been
time.
irritated. Well, I've been irritated since I was 3.
Irritated enough to take time away from our guest who has joined us today, Mr. Joshua Valliere.
He understands.
And Frederick Packard from Charon
They understand
Comics.
the loss of an AC.
How are you guys doing tonight? You have to,
What's going on, everybody?
you have to forgive my
No,
co-hosts
there's no forgiveness.
bitching and complaining about the heat. It's hot over here. Where are you guys coming from?
They're in like Florida.
San Diego,
Yeah.
where it's not so hot.
It's like beautiful there all the time. So San Diego Comic-Con then was a hometown show for you guys.
It sure was, and it was our first time actually exhibiting there.
And what was your experience like?
It was pretty incredible. It was kind of when Josh and I actually walked around the floor about 3 years ago when we were just starting out. It was kind of a bucket list goal of ours to get to San Diego Comic-Con, and with Source Point Press, we were able to achieve that within 3 years' time. So we're pretty ecstatic about that.
What do you mean? Wait, you live there? Why was it the goal to get there? No, I'm just kidding. So talk to us. That was my first question. So when I met you guys, it was actually at the Source Point Press booth, but you're Charon Comics. What's the distinction between the two? How are you guys linked up together?
The best way to kind of describe that is Source Point Press is the parent company, and we're their partner company. So we're kind of more of the role of the imprint, if you will.
Sure.
Everything that comes through Charon Comics, and it's Charon Comics.
Charon. See, I was mispronounced. I'm going to butcher everyone's names.
So everything that comes through us is stuff that we usually do work for hire for, universes that we're creating and building out, where Source Point Press, they have some of that and a lot of creator-owned as well.
Very cool. So give our audience an overview of some of the titles that you guys are releasing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Coming up, first thing I actually want to talk about is Skylin, mainly because we have a Kickstarter coming out in, it's actually September 7th is when we're starting a Kickstarter to print Skylin issue 2.
Very cool.
We had Skylin issue 1 out, and we printed that through Kickstarter as well, and that was successful. And we're pretty ecstatic with the quality and how many we were able to bring, and we're able to bring them all to these Comic-Cons, and we've been selling quite a bit. So Skylin issue 2, we have a different artist with Kyle Petchuk, who's doing a fantastic job. He's been helping us out tremendously with not only the books, but with the Kickstarter. And you'll definitely see a more mature-looking style. It's still in an animated series type role.
Sure.
A little bit about the story. Skylin is a handmaiden to a princess. And they go on a journey to the floating city. It's in the center of a continent surrounded by 6 nations, all of which have their own dragon riders. So every 50 years, a new dragon rider from each nation is chosen. So we kind of continue off right where the first issue left off when they first arrive at the floating city.
Very cool, very cool. Talk to me about Soul Survivor a second, too, because I know we're flashing that up on the screen, and I remember seeing that cover, and I was like, it's a pretty badass-looking cover.
Yeah, Soul Survivor is kind of our main series that we launched. It's about the last surviving human who's seeking revenge for the genocide of the human race. So it's basically one guy against an entire alien race, and he's out for vengeance. Think Punisher in space. Punisher meets Firefly.
That's pretty good.
Going for a comparison. Josh and I take a lot of pride in that book. It's not for a younger audience. It's definitely for a mature audience, as opposed to our Skylin series, which is kind of for all ages.
Sure. Sure. The artwork kind of reflects that, too. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious which one that's geared toward. When you guys work on these books, I mean, are you co-plotting, co-scripting? What's the work process going into all these books?
Yeah, everything's really done together. We collaborate as much as possible. When we first started about 3 years ago, we really just wanted to write something new that we would just love. And we took references from all the things that we currently have loved in series, such as, like you said, Firefly. We also both love Star Wars, Star Trek, but we wanted a little bit more of a gritty, original tale, something that we could really put a lot of new characters and new dynamics into it. Mm-hmm. But we just write together very well. I say this often, that we're both, I think, very good writers separately, but we are much better together. We are able to really bounce ideas off each other. If we dislike something that the other person said, we normally make a compromise that ends up being better than the original.
Over a few fist fights first, right?
Right, of course. And then also in terms of like our process, we'll start with a summary. So if we're doing a series, we'll do a summary for the whole series. Then we break it down by issue. Then we take that issue summary, we break it down into a script, and then from the script, we break it down into a panel script. We then hand that panel script off to the artist. So like Soul Survivor, it's Daniel Lopez. For Skylin, it's Kyle Petchuk. Then they do their layouts based off our panel scripts. Obviously, there's a lot of adjustments. There's a lot of changes that go from a panel script to actual layouts for any creator. Then once the layouts are approved, then we go into pencils, then inking, coloring, then we add the letters, and then hopefully print and ship.
So let me ask you a question, too. You guys mentioned you're doing a Kickstarter for issue 2. I find this with a lot. We have the Alec Baldwin of our show, Mr. Pat Shand, who's done a lot of different stuff at a lot of different companies, but he built his own company essentially through Kickstarter. I mean, that's how he funds his books. There's a lot of companies out there that are using the Kickstarter model before they actually go into distribution. I mean, is that the most viable way to get these things done? I mean, just from a cost perspective?
I mean, in my opinion, you don't want to overuse Kickstarter. So, like, to have a whole company based around Kickstarter, I don't necessarily, I'm not all for that. But using it sparingly, I mean, Kickstarter is essentially one of the bigger markets for comic books as a whole, so it'd be silly not to use it.
Sure.
But I don't want to overdo it. We try to launch maybe like max 3 to 4 Kickstarters a year. I mean, we've only done one Kickstarter previously to this.
Sure.
And that was to launch the series. But more so, we would use it for like a pre-order type thing, or to help with print costs for if we're trying to launch a new series.
For financing that we've done, we before we even go to Kickstarter, either 100% done or almost 100% done. We also have
So wait, let me interrupt for 2 seconds. How do you determine what you need to kickstart then? Are you trying to just recoup the costs you've already put in, or is there because Kickstarter for our audience out there, who I'm sure most people are aware, it's all or none, right? You either, if you are looking to get $5,000, you either get $5,000 or the money gets returned. So how do you figure out the price point then?
Well, so for me, you price the books out. So we're planning to go through Diamond distribution in 2019. So we're really excited for that, and we know the ins and outs of what Diamond's cut is, what to expect hopefully for a first print order. So we base our printing quantities around that, and then from there we know exactly what we need to do for our Kickstarter. What Josh is kind of getting at is we don't, like, a lot of Kickstarters will be like, hey, we need X amount to pay the artist, X amount for printing. For us, we take care of all the art, we take care of all the legwork in that respect, and all we have to do is raise funds for printing. And Kickstarter allows us to print a larger order, which allows us to then fulfill for Diamond, which will allow us to also have extra issues to take to convention.
Sure.
And then we'd like to do some special Kickstarter rewards for those who back us, like variant covers, things like that. For us, we print through Kraken Print, which allows us to, do a lot of special things with our books at a great price as well.
So, real quick, how do people find you online? Like, how do people support you? I know you mentioned the Kickstarter, so give our audience the means to help support you guys, because it's really cool. It's always exciting to see up-and-coming publishers like yourself and see where you guys are going.
Actually, I'll do you guys one better really quick. We actually have a nice little giveaway for you if you're interested.
Contests. Let's do it.
We have 2 weekend passes for Long Beach Comic-Con that we're going to give away to one lucky winner, or we can do 2 lucky winners. Basically, if anybody goes to our website, which is Charon Comics, so CharonComics.com, and signs up for our email list today, or excuse me, we'll do it till we'll say Monday, so that way everybody can get in for the holiday. Whoever signs up for emailing list, we will select 2 lucky winners, or just one, depending on if you have 2 people. We'll take a look and see what we get for submissions, but we'll give you guys a weekend pass to Long Beach Comic-Con.
Look at you guys go. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, go check them out online. Go to their website. Like I said, CharonComics.com. I was going to pronounce Shylin too, but that's okay. Go to Facebook.com/CharonComics. Their Instagram is @Charon_comics. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck. Go to the website and go check out and get a free pass to Long Beach, which is an awesome show, by the way.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
Much.
All right, when we come back, we go spinning the racks. Alec Baldwin, what are you doing, my man? What are you doing when we come back?
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's the Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth Tripp, your host of Nourish the Soul. Join me to uncover the root to these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to living a healthy life. Join us every Wednesday at my new time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank our guests, Josh and Frederick from Charon Comics. See, I knew I was going to butcher it. That's anyone who comes on this show needs to know that I'm going to butcher their names, either their actual names, which I probably butchered Josh's last name, but you know he didn't. He was at that point. He's like, at that point, what am I going to do? You already butchered my comic book company name. I might as well just let the last name slide.
So when is it right for me to suggest to you that you get in touch with the guest prior to going on the air to straighten their names out?
Well, I did, but I leave it up to them to tell me how to pronounce their stuff. I'm the media
Maybe
superstar.
they assume you can. And then when you read
you know,
it off,
you know what
like
happens
a
when you
5-year-old,
assume. You make an ass out of you
oh boy.
and me.
It's your show, but you do what you want, man.
All right, we do this every week. We go spinning the rack.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
Bringing you the most fantastical pop culture news out there. I got to get a little animation for that too. I'll get that.
No,
I'll get that.
I'm
going to get that up next.
We're
All
good.
right.
We're good how we are.
I was going to start with Ant-Man, but I'm going to actually move over to Alec Baldwin because it happened literally so fast I didn't even get a chance to change the graphic. Originally, I was going to say Alec Baldwin joins the Joker movie as Bruce Wayne's dad. And
we get to see Bruce Wayne's dad get killed again.
Right, and I was gonna reference Hollywood Reporter for reporting that it will be off-center from the traditional Batman canon. The script paints Thomas Wayne. Now, here's the thing, right? Sources say, and this is what ended up happening. Sources say the script paints Thomas Wayne as a cheesy and tanned businessman who is more in the mold of 1980s Donald Trump. Joaquin Phoenix stars as the titular villain in Warner Brothers films, while Todd Phillips will direct. And Alec Baldwin went on record saying, no, it's not going to be a Trump person. And then as of literally a few hours ago, as I'm waiting for you to show up and for our weekly pre-production meal, Alec Baldwin drops out of the Joker movie. so there goes my graphic.
We're not going to get to see Thomas Wayne get killed again.
No, we will not. Just 2 days after it was announced that Alec Baldwin will be playing Batman's father, he revealed he's exited from the project. So this is from page
DC.
6 of the New York Post. Again, he had gone on record as saying this was not a Trump lookalike. Obviously, he's very famous right now for playing Donald Trump on SNL. He cited scheduling issues, which 2 days ago he didn't have.
Well, yeah, but then, this trouble started, and he rescheduled something, and suddenly there was an issue.
Yeah. His Variety confirmed the news on Wednesday after the actor told USA Today he'd be dropping out. I'm no longer doing that movie. I'm sure there are 25 guys who can play that part.
Told Warner Bros. To kick a rock.
I like
Warner Bros. Just can't get it together. They can't cut a break, yeah. And all this stuff, the problem with their product is they just refuse to earn anything.
Yeah.
They refuse to build up to anything. They just want to drop interesting movie after interesting movie and see what sticks to the wall.
Yeah.
And you can't. It doesn't work. Obviously, these days it's all about franchise and branding, and brand integrity. So as Marvel or DC, mostly Marvel, because Disney's got its issues with it.
Sure.
But as Marvel has discovered the formula of if it's a Marvel brand, it means it's automatically good. which is what they've managed to convince everybody. Even though some of their stuff is, there's a Thor 2 in there every now and then. But they built their brand. They took the 10 years, that decade it took to build their brand out. And DC Warner Bros. just wants to just keep throwing movies at it.
So here's the thing, right? We're saying Warner Brothers always kind of can't catch a break, and Marvel is kind of free from this. Well, on guard, Guardians 3 suspended indefinitely following the James Gunn.
Yeah, but this is their first serious hiccup.
It is, right?
And
the brakes are pumped. The production is being put on hold for the time being as Marvel and DC
just not unusual. The idea is if we don't give you a release date, we can't miss our release date.
But it's not just that, though. Sources say crew members, which is at this stage a small group that was prepping for pre-production, are being dismissed and are free to look for new work.
Yeah, because they have to work.
One person characterized the production hold as temporary and more of a regrouping. The timeline has been pushed out.
In Hollywood, this happens all the time when you're looking for a new director. You're literally looking for a new general for your army. So you can't keep the army marching if you don't have a general.
Yeah.
So that's the theory behind it. It's not as big a deal as they're making it out to be. That the ship is sinking.
So let me ask you a question too. With this James Gunn firing because of the controversial tweets that he did, is there a moratorium? Like Louis C.K. just showed up at Comedy Cellar in New York City this past weekend and just did a surprise comedy show, and it's basically been a year since he got kind of ousted. Thanks to
but there's a lot of backlash to that though as well.
There is, so but I'm just saying.
We have to see how that plays out before we could consider that like a successful comeback.
No. I'm not calling the comeback. What I'm saying is he waited a year. Do you think Marvel is just simply saying, you know what, let's just put this on ice for a little bit?
Marvel's stuck because, mainly because of Roseanne. If they're going to kill off Roseanne's character and then have the Roseanne show go on without her because of a tweet,
right?
Then you can't turn around and rehire James Gunn,
right?
Because of his tweeting,
right?
So they're stuck. We're not going to be able to come back.
They're rock hard place. Them.
I mean, look, they shouldn't have fired him that quickly. They should have tried to use their PR team to try to at least investigate.
No, but I disagree. You just used the perfect example. Roseanne was literally fired.
Roseanne was immediate.
Within 6 hours.
It was immediately egregious, and she sent it out contemporarily.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
This is stuff that they dug up from James.
Yes.
And so they put it on hold. They do everything they're doing now, but they investigate before, and they find out exactly what the political fallout of firing him would also be.
Yeah.
And then they act accordingly. Most likely, 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, he would have been fired anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just going to have to fire him anyway. They cannot taint the brand. You can't have the brand tainted. So, it was inevitable. It's not cool.
Yeah.
It's it stinks.
There's some great taint jokes that I'm just thinking about, but
yeah, I know.
And I don't think that gets a bing here either. I think that.
Because it's not deserved, man. It's not even hard work for you.
Last on the list tonight, Ant-Man and Wasp leads global box office.
I like that you didn't have any insight to add to that other than a taint joke. Which is why I even wonder why I bother to formulate a thought.
So that I don't have to. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, well, I mean...
it tain't a lot of work to get you to do it all for me. Disney and Marvel's Ant-Man and Wasp returned to dominate the worldwide box office. The superhero tentpole generated $68 million when it opened in China, marking the 4th highest debut for a Marvel film in the Middle Kingdom. Is that what it's called, the Middle Kingdom? All right, this is courtesy of Hollywood Reporter. So I basically subscribe to their newsletter, and so they just send me news stories now. So everything going forward is going to be a quote from Hollywood Reporter.
I'm so done talking to you right now.
It's going to be extremely exciting.
You finished the show out.
To date, Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly's sequel has generated a massive $544 million globally, including $333 million overseas and $212 in North America, and he has yet to open in Japan. Warner Brothers' The Meg is chewing off sizable numbers of its own, crossing the $400 million worldwide. What did you think of The Meg? Real quick, we got like 2 minutes. Because you told me you saw it.
I never told you that.
Well, did you see it?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
Stunning revelation.
It was a monster movie. There wasn't enough kills in it, but it was good.
Stunning revelation.
It's bigger than Solo. Made more money than Solo. It beat Solo.
Well, everything's beating Solo right now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the Meg. Come on, Meg. Just beat a Star Wars film. That's significant.
What's the significance of the Meg? Like, what is because it's a megalodon? Is that what it is?
Megalodon.
It's not a Family Guy reference?
No.
No, because it'd be really cool if it was. Right? Like, how great would it be?
You're doing this again.
How great would it be?
You're doing this
No,
again.
I'm dead serious. Like,
you're,
you think I'm
you're
actually like
pissing all over a thought.
But you think I'm manufacturing this. These are legitimate
I know, this is how
thoughts
your
that I
brain
think of.
works. This is
right.
This is the tragedy.
Exactly
this is the tragedy of Michael Dolce.
This is.
It's all the visuals.
There's
no
not
substance.
much of a difference between tragedy and comedy.
There's no substance.
Right? Isn't that like a Shakespeare quote?
I'm not with you anymore. We're not together on
Maybe
this.
it's not. All right. I want to thank our guests from
go see
Charon
Meg,
Comics, Joshua Valliere and Frederick Packard. We wish them nothing but the best. That was our Summer Spotlight series, which I think everyone is pretty excited about. I think it went over pretty well. Go check out all of our previous episodes. We're on iTunes /Secrets of the Sire. We're on iHeartRadio, all that fun stuff. Next week, we welcome Rich Hanley from Sequart. They are releasing the Planet of the Apes book, analyzing the movies, TV shows, and novels. And he's also he's the editor on that book. He's also the editor on the 90s comic anthology for X-Men, which, again, let's reboot this sucker. Come on.
Planet of the Apes already got a reboot.
90s X-Men. Come on. Do it.
Good night.
We'll see you guys next
I don't
week.
want to talk anymore.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.